Hey guys, so we're back to our memory game, where I recap everything that happened in the summer semester of 2019. I ended off on May 23rd, the last time I paused, so we're off to May 24th. On a Friday, May 24th, I took my computer and math class. I remember on that day, I remember because I skipped the tutorial, I didn't know how to answer the second question on the quiz. It was about Newton's law of cooling, and I messed it up, and as a result, I got 4 out of 8 on that quiz. So it wasn't my proudest moment. For dinner, what ended up happening was I had a church event at 7 p.m. So at 5:30, I headed to White Spot. I got the calamari and clam chowder as well as an apple pie for dessert. Total came out to 27.27, and I paid tip with that amount too. Um, so then I didn't know that for dinner they were gonna have some sushi, and they did end up having sushi, and I was like, one of my friends was like, "You're not gonna eat anything?" And I'm like, "Oh, I already had dinner." I took a sushi roll or two and such, yeah. So then we had our conferences and such, and then it was the 25th. I don't remember the rest of what happened for the 24th. So then on May 25th, on Saturday, after going to work, I had a driving lesson with one of the instructors. And then, yeah, after paying, when I got home, my dad revealed the news to me about how the ring thing, sorry, I'll be right back. Give me 1 sec. About how the ring, like they were able to see the ring that I never left the house. So then he knew I skipped. Yeah. My mom was slightly upset, but she was nowhere near as mad as I expected. She said it in a tone like, "Brent, did you skip class yesterday on Wednesday?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah." But I knew not to do that again. So then I started to say, "Okay, I'm gonna change my habits for the better." A lot of the reason I couldn't make it like on time was because I was playing games overnight, and then I couldn't wake up on time, basically. Yeah. Then on Okay, so then on the 26th of May, I started introducing my parents to the show Real Detective that I was watching since April. And then I showed them one on the evening. May 26th was a cloudy day. On For dinner, when we were watching dinner, I showed them an episode of there's this episode where a woman named Jodie Foster was murdered, and then I remember my dad and mom commenting on uh like a scene where it was like the criminal, one of the suspects said, "No warrant, you ain't coming in." And then we all agreed that we feared those types of people who weren't afraid of the police at all. Yeah. I don't remember what else happened on the 26th. On May 27th, it was a sunny day. After taking my computer and math class, I ended up going for a swim by a pool by Lafarge Lake Douglas. And I was like, um, being the stereotypical, no, sorry, not stereotypical, being the curious, dumb person I was, I ended up purchasing a pack of smokes. I was like, I heard that it was common to smoke when you were in college and such. So that's what I did. May 28th was a sunny day. I stayed at home that day. I don't have class. I didn't have class on Tuesdays. So yeah. Um, on May 29th, I was able to see one of my friends from linear algebra. No, not Ashley. It was another guy. I think he was Israeli, if I recall correctly. May 30th, I definitely went to tutorial that day. I can tell you that much. On the 31st, my friend Isaiah was holding a party at Rudy's house and from church, and I remember like we partied well into the night. And I remember that was the first day I had this video called I found this YouTube video that was released 9 years later, because you know how YouTube's algorithm is. YouTube's algorithm is like they release a video and then they share it to the public when it was released 9 years ago. And it was professor yells at class for overly loud yawn. um, on Sunday, June 1st, 2019, what happened that day? I don't remember what happened in the morning and afternoon, but at nighttime, okay, yeah, okay, it's coming to me. By nighttime, my mom was like just trying to find something in my room. I think she wanted to borrow some scissors or something, but then she opened the drawers and then found my cigarettes. And like she and my dad lectured me about smoking and such. I was under social anxiety and a bit of stress from schoolwork. I know it was 2 courses, but yeah. And they confiscated them. Yeah. On Sunday, June 2nd, my mom left for a my mom left for a I think she had some work business trip going on. So it was just me and my dad at home. Not much happened until 6 p.m. It was a cloudy day on June 2nd. And I was on my phone, and then like my dad said, "Hey, we didn't you have this thing scheduled for 6 o'clock where it was like interviewing?" So let me explain. At the time, I wanted to do extracurricular activities, basically. So I wanted to, aside from playing games and such, because I was only taking 2 courses, I'm like, hey, why not fill this extra space with more activities? So then we both drove off to SFU, the university, and then what happened was yeah, so then I went there, I waited, and then I had an interview. It didn't go very well. I didn't like, I wanted to go, but I didn't have that desire, if you know what I mean. It was like, if I didn't make it, I wouldn't have been terribly disappointed and such. And then I remember the questions. There were 3 people interviewing me. I told them it was about going into computer and such. And I was like, hey, well, I do C++ and I do Python. I made a few programs. I specifically remember one of the 3 people saying, those projects you did, were they from school? And I lied and I said, no, I made these things myself. I got a letter back the following day saying that thank you for your application, but you have not been accepted. But I was like, that's okay. On Monday, June 3rd, after taking those classes and such, I headed on home. That evening, it was a sunny day, and then I was like, before I do my ODEs, I wanted to relive the moment of what happened on the early morning of May 2nd. You see, it was back then, it was very rarely for me to have gotten over 400 points on Mario Kart, and I ended up getting 415 that night on May 2nd. So on Monday, June 3rd, after dinner, I took out a piece of paper and then I tracked down like exactly what place my character Bugs Meany was getting and such. And then I was like calculating like what the scores of my opponents. It's worth mentioning that I only saw the final scores of all the players after each race. So I had to manually calculate the points that me and all the computer characters were getting after all the races, and that was tiring. It took almost an hour, and you know what's really funny? About 3 days later, I lost that paper, so I don't even remember what the scores were now. Anyways, yeah, on June 4th, on June 4th and 5th, I don't remember anything. On the 6th, I remember that like yeah, I most likely studied for my computer course, my Python course. It didn't need much studying because it was an introductory computer course, and I already like had knowledge of what I did in C++. You guys might be thinking I was a bad student then, but bear in mind those were like pretty much easy courses and such. So yeah, so you know, it was basically if you are a computer science major, you would understand how easy Python is basically. Yeah, I studied for those. I had a test on Friday. On Thursday, I learned from my church that there would be no event on Friday, basically. And I was like, oh well. But at the same time, I got to hang out with my friend Alina from accounting. Like we agreed to meet at 3:30 on June 7th. And yeah. On Friday, June 7th, I took the morning from 9:30 to 10:30, I took the test, the first midterm, and like after I was done, I was like, hey, I think I did pretty good. I'd probably get at least a 70 or 80 on this. And then what ended up happening was whatchamacallit, yeah, and then when we were done, like I basically went outside, headed for a smoke. I think I went to Nestor's Market and bought something. I don't remember if I bought something from Nestor's Market, but I do remember I crossed that store. Um, before I continue, I think it'd be worth showing that maybe I should do a separate video where I prove that all the things I mentioned about what happened these days were true. Like I could show you my receipts. I could show you, oh, this is what I purchased on June 7, 2019. It's here in my bank statement. And then you guys would believe me. Yeah, if you really want me to do that, I will. I don't lie about when I make these videos. And then on the 7th, yeah, so then afterwards, after taking my math class and then things settled down, I hung out with Alina. We walked along chatted. I think we mentioned about seagulls at one point, and I said, oh, I'm afraid of the seagulls pooping on my head. I've always had a phobia of seagulls doing that, honestly. And then she said, hey, that's actually a sign of good luck. And I'm like, where are you, seagull? No, I didn't do that. And then we took a picture of, there were some fish in a pond along the crosswalk. It was like a crosswalk like this. And then there were bodies of water beside that crosswalk. And then we took a picture of the goldfish swimming, and it was nice. It was fun. Yeah. She said, you know, it was fun hanging out with you. We could hang out again. Maybe we could watch a movie like and such. She really wanted to watch, I think it was The Avengers or something, like in Westminster. Yeah. Then yeah, then on the nothing really happened on June 8th. On June 9th, I had two events. I had a church event, the Blue Mountain Church. This was the exact same church where I had my trip with my friend Jacob a month ago. It was the one to Anvil Island from May 3rd to May 5th. I went to church at 10 a.m. and I met the pastor, Brad, again, and he was really happy to see me. And a lot of the people, they remembered me, and it was really good. Even Bethany too. Yeah. And then it was a sunny day on the 9th. When I got back, I remember I did some laundry with my mom and lived out the rest of the afternoon. And then at 7 p.m., I headed off to sports night. Oh, I also remember at 6 o'clock, like my mom was like, hey, are you going to eat anything? And I originally didn't want to have anything for dinner because I didn't want to eat too early. Like the rule is you're not supposed to eat 30 minutes before you do something exercise related. And I basically said, I don't really want to eat, but she forced me to eat, and then I ended up eating. It wasn't a big meal though. So then I headed off there. When I Yeah, I sports night went as usual, played basketball, played four corner soccer with some of my church members, not the Blue Mountain, the CCO one from my university. Um, yeah. Then on Monday, June 10th, my mom headed off for another business trip. Yeah. I forgot to mention she came back on the 7th from her previous trip. On Monday, June 10th, she headed off for another one. Um, and upon going, making it to school, I remember in that day on math class for ODEs, we learned something called variation of parameters, I think. Yeah. And my friend Jacob texted me like later that afternoon and said essentially that oh, we're gonna be having our church is going to be having small groups tonight, but it's going to be like a picnic style. So then that night, that evening, we had it at a park and such. And, I met Jacob and his sister and his friends and such. And it was a good time. We had a good time together. Yeah. Um, June 11th, 12th, 13th, nothing happened. On June 14th, while I was in class, I was thinking, oh boy, it's my mother's birthday. She's turned 49. It's sad that are we still gonna have cake or like what's gonna go on? She was scheduled to come back home on the 15th. So yeah, that was what's always on my mind. And I remember after taking math class, my math professor had office hours. And then I approached him and then I said the words, I found a contradiction. And here it's worth noting that every time when I do math, when I do any quantitative course, when I see something that doesn't make sense or doesn't match up, I say the words, I found a contradiction. And then he started laughing. He's like, oh, there's a contradiction, really? And then he explained the contradiction to me, how it wasn't a contradiction. He's like, yes, the world of math has not been corrupted for 400 years. And I remember I appealed to him for if I could get a mark, like, because there was a quiz. It was called the interval of existence. And I understood the material bloody well. So I thought I would get at least an A minus, but then I got 6 out of 8. So I'm like, hey, do you think, like, the TA marked a little too hard? Do you think you could give me half a mark? And he's like, no, I don't know if it's worth fighting for half a mark. You should really try to learn how to do it and such. Yeah. So then I had my church night events that night as usual. Yeah. On the 15th, nothing really happened, and not really on the 16th. I do remember on June 16, Sunday, that night, on Sunday, June 16, I remember before I went to bed, I played a game of Mario Kart. And I played, and I remember getting 447 points, and that was a new high score for me. Yeah. On Monday, June 17th, I remember I said I met my professor for his office hours again for math. And then I said the words, I found another contradiction. And he was like, okay. And then, he explained to me that it wasn't a contradiction again. The 17th was a sunny day. Oh, I also remember that I got the results back for my computer test that I did on the 7th. And turns out I got like about 47%. I was pretty disappointed at first, but then I realized like I got cut off points for a lot of shoddy reasons. And like those reasons were like, oh, you didn't make comments. Apparently my professor was nitpicky. She was a good professor, but she wanted to see like people write comments about why they executed a certain style and such. So I knew the material well, but I lost marks for not including comments. And I looked at the rest of the students' grades and the results were pretty shocking. Like only 3 people managed to get 90% and up. The average was about a 47, same as me. Like about like 6 people got 80 to 90. Like, yeah, it was a complete freak show. Yeah. But I was like, okay, well, since it's curved, I'd be around a C plus, B minus. So let's carry on with our day. And then, yeah, after doing that, I stayed in school. I played a games for a few hours, and then I headed off to the Blue Mountain Church event at for 7 p.m. I got there around 6, just so I could say hi to a few people. And I noticed there was a new girl standing there. Back then I was way too shy to have approached her, and then she approached me and introduced herself as Lindsay. And we talked about some things, and I talked to her about my Calc 2 professor being really strict and how I was able to get an A. His grading system was really funny, how my Calc 2 professor has his own grading scale. Instead of a bell curve, but it's like 90 to 100 is A plus, 80 to 90 is A, 70 to 80 is an A minus, 64 to 70 is a B plus. You keep going down that list, and anything below 30 counts as an F. And then she genuinely seemed surprised. She was also talking to Bethany, and then I was talking to them too. On that day, I learned that Bethany worked at White Spot, and it was funny because I remember seeing her at working at White Spot one time when I was going there to dine. Yeah. We had our service, and then afterwards, and it was a good service from what I vaguely remember. When I got home around 9:30, there was still a bit of sunlight. June to August are like some of my favorite seasons, honestly. And then yeah, that's why I like it, because you still need to see the sun that late. Then my mom and dad greeted me, but my mom wanted to check if I had cigarettes. She was skeptical. She smelled me and didn't find any. I guess it was because she has a really sensitive nose, like a dog, and she could smell really well. And then I think she was doing my laundry at one point and then smelled smoke from my clothes. So then she wanted to check, but I didn't smoke that day, so I was good. She said you could smoke, but don't get addicted, basically. Yeah. On the I don't even smoke that much, guys. Like I smoke about 4 or 5 a day. I know there's people who like do over a pack a day. Like I'm not that type of person. I only do it when I get stressed or if I'm feeling nervous. Yeah. And then okay, so on Tuesday, June 18th, my mom headed off for work around 8:30 or 9, and then she said, hey, you got to get up. But I think I was doing something late, and I probably went to bed at around 3 or 4. And then it was there. I had no class that day, so I slept in until noon. When at around 4 or 5, when my parents came home, my dad was like, hey, wait, hang on, how come you didn't eat breakfast? The eggs are still on the counter. Did you sleep until noon? And I was like, no, I just didn't have eggs. And they were like, oh, okay. No, I did sleep until noon though. Yeah. On June 18th, my friend Jacob texted me and said, hey, you want to hang out on Friday, the 21st you want to hang out on the 21st at 10:30 for 2 hours? And then I was like, yeah, hit me up. So then on Wednesday, June 19th, it was in the morning, it was cloudy. On the 18th, it was sunny. Yeah, okay. But I had my math midterm. There were for 300 level courses for third year and higher, like there's only one midterm. For lower division courses, there were 2 midterms for math. Yeah. On the 19th of June, I went to school. I skipped my computer course because I was busy studying for this math test and I was getting anxiety from it. Yeah, I did pretty well though. So then I took the exam And then yeah, I took the exam. I was pretty not good with the proofs, but it was mostly calculation based. A week later, I found out that I got 22 out of 30, which was just in the A minus range, and the highest score was 27 out of 30. Yeah, and then what happened then? Oh yeah, the test was done. I gave myself a bit of a break. So after at around 2:30, I went to play a game called Deal or No Deal. And then I took a picture of me winning $1 million for the very first time. And I took a picture of that on my phone when it actually happened. And it was because of a trick that I never thought I did before. So it's like the very first time when it says click 5 cases, after clicking the fifth case, before the dealer would call, I would click the sixth case and open up an extra case. So I remember I kept doing this until I was like, there were 2 cases left, and then I said no deal. And then I remember like they said, please pick a case. And then I picked a case, and then I picked another case before the dealer called, and it was like, I realized I had $1 million because like the other 25 cases did not have $1 million. It said, there's an offer. It's from the banker. He wants to make you an offer of $1 million. Do you accept it? And I'm like, no, no deal. Because I know I got $1 million in my case. So yeah. I went to afterwards. I went to Kumon at 3:30 and helped the kids until 8. I got home and I watched some MasterChef. MasterChef season 10 came out on the 29th. I watched it every Wednesday and Thursday. Sometimes it aired on Thursday when a contestant wasn't eliminated on Wednesday. At the time, I was voting for Fred and Micah. You would know who they were if you watched the show. I was glad Micah wasn't sent home on MasterChef that day. Like they were doing a chicken challenge and he made a coq au vin and it wasn't successful, but he didn't get eliminated. So yeah. It's always interesting when you watch shows and then elimination shows and then you root for 1 or 2 people. I always like to do that. Yeah. On June 20th, oh boy, I feel like I should know this stuff. On Thursday, June 20th, what the heck happened? I don't remember anything. Oh, I do remember that my parents said they were going to go on a vacation. They were safe because I was only taking 2 courses and they wanted a bit of a break on their own. Plus, my dad purchased this new car. It's in our driveway right now, but I forget the brand of the car. Yeah. It was gray. Yeah, I don't I don't know how else to describe the car. Yeah. Yeah, so then they announced that to me on Friday, June 21st. It was a sunny day. I forgot my lighter upon exiting Nestor's Market after purchasing some snacks. And I asked a stranger to do this, like light one for me, and he did. And then his companion said to him, like, hey, isn't there a smoke store around here and such? And it was like, yeah. I was yeah, and then I made it home. And then I also remember my friend Rudy said to me, hey Brent, where your friend Grace told me to tell you that she's going on the hiking trip tomorrow at 9 a.m. And I said, yeah, sure thing. No problem. I'm gonna go do it. And then he was like, yeah, okay, thanks. Because my CCO group was gonna go on a hiking trip on the following day. Yeah. That night I played some Mario Kart on Wii. I was kind of addicted, but I was like, okay, I have this big hiking trip tomorrow. I cannot afford to sleep too late. So then I played until 2:30 a.m. And then I was like, okay, you know what? It's good enough for me So then I went to sleep. I also did it because it was like sometimes when I have less sleep, I have more energy. It's weird. And sometimes when I have too much sleep, I have less energy. It has to do with the REM cycle, but I didn't take biology, so I'm not that familiar with it. Um, to my surprise, on Sunday, June 22nd, I woke up at 7:30 despite getting 5 hours of sleep. And then I said, you know what? I don't need breakfast. I don't have time for breakfast. So I brushed my teeth and then walked over to Safeway to meet Grace, who said she was going to offer me a ride. So then I got into the car and then we drove off to a Starbucks where actually everyone said they were going to meet up. And then once we were at Starbucks, we were like, hey, let's go get something to eat. So I'm like, okay, so I like being held accountable. It looks like I'm not going to starve to death after all. Imagine if I didn't eat anything and then we took this long walk and then I just collapsed in the middle. That would have been terrible. So then at Starbucks, I ordered a white chocolate mocha. That's one of my favorite coffees. And I ordered vanilla bean scone and an egg McNut muffin. I forget the cost. I know the mocha costed $5.20 and the scone probably costed $1.20. I forget what the sandwich costed. Um yeah, after everyone ate and then we drove to the designation. I forget which mountain we were climbing on. It was definitely not Mount Everest, let me tell you that much. Besides, even if it were, there's statistically a 5% chance you would die. So we did not climb Mount Everest. I can tell you that much. So then, yeah, upon climbing, I told my friend John about this video I saw about a UCF professor accuses students of cheating. But then I said it like I twisted the story to make it sound like it happened to my class. And then like about the 600 students getting caught cheating. And then he said, wow, so 1/3 people were cheating. So that's 200 students. And then his friend Chris, who was standing beside him, laughed at this. Yeah. We walked, it was an easy trail. There were no big curves along the hike. It was pretty much flat with an occasional 5-degree angle incline and such. Yeah, it was easy. No one really sweated. What else happened? Okay, yeah, okay. I forgot something that happened yesterday. I'm gonna continue talking about this. So then we had lunch at a place called Cora's Breakfast. I think it was Cat and Cora's or something. The name Cora's was in there for sure. And I got a salmon eggs Benedict, which was bloody delicious. It cost $18. And yeah, when I got home, I took a nap. I think it was 1 or 2 hours. Okay, I forgot to tell you what happened on June 21st when I went home after class. I played Mario Kart on the night of Friday, June 21st. It was about 8 p.m. and it was it was sunny then. And then I remember playing as Bowser, but I called myself Bugs Meany. And then I kept playing and playing and playing. And what happened? Yeah. Oh, I also remember like every time I finished playing, I would grab out my phone and then take a picture of the records. So then I wouldn't have to manually count them like I did on June 3rd. So then I kept playing until it was 10 p.m. And you know what was really funny? It's like when I took the picture on my camera, you could see the shade from the sunlight. And then around 10 p.m., it started to get dimmer, dimmer, and dimmer. It gradually got dimmer and such. So yeah, that was really cool. I ended up with 431 points, which was pretty impressive. Yeah. Yeah, anyways, that was June 21st. On June 22nd, back to me taking the nap. Okay, so I woke up around okay, so when I got home, it was about 1 or 2 p.m. I took a nap When I woke up, it was probably 3 or 4 p.m. And it was 3 or 4 p.m. And what happened afterwards was oh, okay, yeah, I remember. Um, I basically started watching The Disastrous Life of Psyche K. I know I watched this in late April and early May, but it was so funny and comedic that I decided to watch it again. Um, and then I remember eating dinner. My parents left some food in the fridge for me, and I really didn't want to skip a meal at the time. So yeah. Um, on the third, sorry, on the that night at 9 p.m. I recorded the outro for season 2 of Disastrous Life of Psyche K. Yeah. Um, what happened? On the 23rd, I also played Mario Kart. Nothing really happened. I stayed at home. I'll be honest with you, like staying at home for the entire weekend wasn't as exciting as I thought it would be. Yeah. Um, on Monday, June 24th, I surprised myself by waking up at 8:30. I had breakfast and then headed off to school and did not was not late for my computer science class. Yeah. It was a sunny day on the 24th. I went to my classes, both that and math class as usual. Um, a little while later, I got home. I ended up achieving 467 out of 400, a possible 480 points on Mario Kart. That was like my highest record ever. Um, oh yeah, I also messaged Alina again, and we both agreed to hang out on Thursday. She said, "Could you meet me at a place called a Shrum Science Center?" And I said, "I don't even know where that is, lol." And then she texted, "Lol, it's the place where we had our accounting class in the beginning." And I was like, "Oh, how could I have missed that?" Yeah, and then I was that night I wasn't really feeling like wanting to stay up late, so I went to bed at 10:30. I think around 1, I heard my parents come home from their vacation. Yeah. On June 25th, I was like, okay, it's time to start doing my assignments. I had a computer assignment that was due on Thursday, and I hadn't even started touching it. But because I paid a great deal of attention in class and the course was easy, I was able to do it very well. I spent the entire day at home. My mom was home, so she was able to keep me accountable, but she just didn't know it. She's probably in the other room. I hope she's not hearing this. So basically what happened was what happened? I did my assignment very well. It was like I surprised myself. I did it without any problems, and I was done in like 6 to 7 hours. I based the Python assignment was to draw a picture using Python code, and I did that. I remember I vaguely remember my picture was consisting of a sun. It was of the blue sky. I remember drawing grass and drawing some nice things. It was you were supposed to have at least 7 colors, but I could only have 6. So I was like, okay, I don't know what to do, basically. Um, the on the night of the 25th, on the 24th and 25th were both sunny days. I remember that. On the night of June 25th, I got a Facebook notification saying my friend Samantha from church invited me to her friend Dean's event on Friday, June 28th, where we were gonna go to the park and hang out and play football. Yeah. On on June 26th, I took my computer class. It was a sunny day on the 26th. Afterwards, I took a walk. I went to Nestor's Market and had a smoke. And then I met Todd, who was at the beach event with Jacob and Mira on April 26th. And we just talked for a little bit. I showed him that I had a YouTube channel and that he could watch it if he wanted to. Yeah. At 2:30 p.m., sorry, no, at 1:30 p.m., I headed off to my, whatchamacallit, I headed off to my computer science lab to get help from one of the TAs. I said, I'm having a lot of trouble. I only have 6 colors in my computer assignment diagram picture, and it says you have to have 7. And then he said, hey, that's super easy. You see how your grass is green? Why not make half of them dark green? And I'm like, oh, that's such a brilliant idea. And then I did it, and I handed my assignments then and there, knowing that I did a good job on it. Yeah. I went to Kumon. I helped the kids out. It's nice helping the kids out, but I don't remember specifically what I did on each day. That night I watched MasterChef. Yeah. On Thursday, June 27th, I asked my the TA about the midterm grades, because we got them on June 29th, but on the 27th I was growing a little impatient, and then he said no, they haven't come out yet. And then I even tried to show him about the quiz where my professor refused to give me half a mark, and he's like, yeah, it's a shame that you knew these concepts, but yeah, it's about expressing them clearly. At around 3:30, I met with Alina. We went into New Westminster by taking the SkyTrain. We walked a bit, and then we had something called bingsu. I remember it was like shaved ice and such. It was about $8, and I ordered a San Panero drink. Yeah. I took a picture of it, the bingsu, because it was nothing like I've seen before. We hung out, and then around 6, I got home. I basically told my parents I had events on Friday and Saturday. And then she said, hey, that's good. Hey, but don't forget, Brent, you have to do your practice driving with your dad, because your exam is on your driving road test is on the 22nd. I changed the word from test to exam. No, exam to test, because I don't like to mix school terminology with my everyday life terminology. Yeah. I watched the MasterChef episode on the 27th and was glad that my boy Fred wasn't eliminated. They were baking a tarte tatin that episode, and someone named Evan screwed up. Yeah. On Friday, June 28th, I don't remember what happened in computer class, but I remember for math class, my professor taught us variation of parameters. I remember I got 8 out of 8 on the quiz, and yeah. Oh, and afterwards I went to Dean's event, the one that Samantha introduced me to on Tuesday. She and my friend Nanda were surprised to see me smoking, because they didn't see it earlier. And I got to know a bit about the party hoster Dean. He talked about being on the UBC athletic football team and such, University of British Columbia. And yeah, we played football, we talked, all of us there. I think there were a total of 10 people there. And yeah, it was fun. For dinner, we got A&W. And I only spent about $7.50, which was unlikely to be me, because usually I spend around at least $12 for a meal, and sometimes as high as $30. I got home, and then I remember my professor spoke a little too fast on one of the examples. So that night, I got home around 8:30, and then I took out my phone, and then I started watching the recording I made of the professor's one of his question slides, and then I was copying down how to do it. And then my mom was smiling, seeing me. She saw me holding a phone. She was a little suspicious at first because, like, I'm not supposed to be using my phone while studying for obvious reasons. And then I told her, yeah, I was. It was just because I wanted to know how to do this question. And then she smiled and said, okay. But then it was like, why didn't you record it horizontally? Why did you record it vertically? She also came in that night to tell me that uh, her and dad were gonna leave for another vacation um, on the 29th to July 2nd. So I would have the house to myself again, basically. Um, on June 29th, there was another mountain climbing thing for my CCO church. And we all climbed up there. It was much more harder and much rigorous. And this time I had to bring my own food because I learned that we weren't going to be eating at a restaurant for lunch. Uh, yeah, the inclines were much more steep on the second time around. My friend Johan was there. Yeah, and Rudy and all of them. Yeah, everyone was there. I think there were even more people on the 29th than on the 22nd. For lunch, I remember I had an energy bar. I had a bit of rice. I don't remember anything else. I remember during like it was sunny on the 29th, and I remember I called my friend Tiomir at around 10 before we started actually doing the hiking, and I said, "Hey, do you want to come by, hang out today or tomorrow?" And he said, "Oh, I could do today at 6." And I was like, "Sure, why not?" So yeah, we agreed that. Um, we got home at 6 o'clock. My friend Tiomir showed up. And then we played Mario Kart. I was the red team, he was the blue team. Um, and I remember I wanted to go easy on him, so I wasn't playing to my best. And he wasn't very good at that game. No offense to you, I love you, bro. And then he basically like, he said, "Oh, this is really cool" and such. And I ended up with 420 points. My team won, his team lost. Yeah. And then we also played a game of Monopoly. And I basically helped Tiomir to win the game of Monopoly. It wasn't the regular version of Monopoly. It was the richest edition of Monopoly to see who could have the most amount of money by the end of it all. Yeah. Um, I remember even trying to do a recording of this for my YouTube video. I'm like, "Hey guy, like I tried to copy McJuggerNuggets intro and like it didn't go as well." Yeah. I took a picture with him though, a few, because it was like the sun was setting down and it was really nice seeing him. And then it was just nice to see on June 29th, it was still sunny at 9:50 p.m. And then eventually had to leave. I gave him a pack of beef jerky just as a gift. Yeah. On Sunday, June 30th, I couldn't make it to church because I woke up at around 10:24. I texted my friend Jacob, said, "Sorry, I couldn't make it today." And he said, "That's okay." It sucked because he was playing the main lead for guitar that day, and I was sad that I had to miss it. I remember, and then he said, I said, "Hey, do you want to hang out today?" And he said, "Sorry, bro, can't today." But he's told me he was meeting with some of the high school people, like at Rocky Point on Canada Day. So I followed him and said, "Yeah, I'd be willing to do that tomorrow." For dinner, I ate some leftovers, and then I remember first that like for some reason my debit card had a limit and I wanted to buy something but I couldn't, so I called the RBC Royal Bank, and I was surprised that like the person who picked up the phone, she was a really sweet lady. She was like, "Hi Brent." She knew my name. I guess it was because I was the owner of the card or something. She's like, "Hi, what can I do for you?" and such. And then I asked to renew my limit, and then she was like, she kindly approved of it. I did this while I was watching a show called Victorious. It was the show where Victoria Justice was trying to be Steamboat Susie, season 2, episode 4, to be exact. Um, And then later, my parents called. They just wanted to make sure the house didn't burn down and I was okay and everything. So yeah, it was nice talking to them. Um, July 1st came. I apparently misread the directions Jacob told me to do. Like, it was originally agreed that we would meet at his house at 1 o'clock so we could go to Rocky Point together. But I ended up directly going to Rocky Point. So I waited an hour and a half. It was a sunny day on July 1st. It was nice seeing people swim though. And then at 2:30, I met him. I met all of our old friends together. Yeah, it was exciting to see them. Yeah. Um, I talked to one of his friends, Brian, about like I knew Brian, like he still goes to the same university as us, and like we've seen each other here and there and such. And then I told him about the anime called The Disastrous Life of Saiki K, and really he seemed really enjoyed by it, said it was funny. I also told him about that UCF professor accusing the class of cheating, but I lied that it happened to my class, and he seemed interested by it. Um, we had sushi for dinner. I remember I got something spicy. I like spicy rolls a lot. Um, at around 9 o'clock, I remember like me and Jacob were hanging out together and we didn't know where the washroom was. So we did the last thing that we ever thought we would do. We asked two cops where the washroom was and they kindly directed us there. It was just funny for whatever reason. Yeah. Um, yeah, upon doing that, yeah, we watched the fireworks, we watched some people sing. Uh, we were not in Rocky Point anymore. I think we took the bus to Lafarge Lake the train to Lafarge Lake Douglas when this happened. So yeah, we were at Lafarge Lake Douglas, and then I recorded the fireworks on my phone. I can show you the video as living proof if you want, but I'm sure you guys will believe me because I have a photographic memory. Um, yeah, and then afterwards we took the bus back. I said goodbye to two people because we were traveling the same stop as I was. And I got home, it was almost 11:30. I played a bit of games until 4:30, and then I fell asleep. I woke up around noon on Tuesday, July 2nd. It was a cloudy day that day. On July 2nd, happened. Oh yeah. While I was eating lunch, my dad was like, "Oh, we're gonna be home in 40 minutes." I'm like, "Oh shoot," because I remember like what you call it. Um, I remember like I still had the last bit of leftovers to eat, and I was a slow eater, and I'm like, okay, hopefully I can finish this before they get home, and I ended up finishing it. And then what happened was by the time I was done, yeah, like there was like 10 minutes left, and like I put it in the dishwasher after washing it, and then I finally made it through with minutes to spare. So yeah, and then they got home. They were surprised the house didn't burn down. My dad saw that I purchased a bottle of beer, and that I opened it up like the wrong way. I told him I opened it up with my teeth, like because I at the time I didn't really know how to open a bottle. And then he showed me how, and then my mom's like, uh, don't encourage your son how to drink and such. Yeah. Yeah, so then yeah, then the rest of the day I don't remember what happened for the rest of the day. On Wednesday, July 3rd, my friend, like after taking my computer class, my friend, I was like my friend Chris, I accidentally encountered him, and he said, "Hey, do you want to go get some McDonald's together?" But at that time, I was really in need of some smokes. So and I said, no, I have to purchase some smokes. I'm really sorry. And then he said, smokes as in this? And I said, yeah. And then he said, oh, I didn't know you smoke. Okay, well, see you around. So then I got some, um, I don't remember what happened for the rest of the day. Nothing on the 4th either. On July 5th, I signed up for BGA Board Game Arena. You've seen a few videos of me playing games there, but that was the very first time. And I named myself Paul Lang, Paulllang. That was my very first character that I made. Um, I'll make a separate video explaining why I kept changing characters and making alternate accounts for that website. But as of that time, my very first character was Paul Lang. The reason why I chose Paul, this name, was because the name Paul sounded like pow, like power, and Lang sounded like in Chinese was lang or wolf. So the name basically translated to power wolf. Yeah. It was surprising. Like I was surprised that I actually subscribed on July 5th. The only reason I know this was because that's what the BGA account says. It says member since July 5th. I remember playing my very first game on July 10th, but not touching it whatsoever. So that was really weird. On yeah, the 5th, nothing really happened other than that. Nothing on the 6th. On July 7th, I had a sports night thing with my CCO church again. Yeah, okay, yeah, we had it. And then afterwards, we decided to go get bubble tea together. And then I needed a smoke. So then I smoked while a few of them went in to get bubble tea. And then Rudy was like, Brent, you smoke? And I'm like, yeah. And then he's like, when did you start? I didn't answer that. On Monday, July 8th, I at the lunch at lunchtime, I was surprised, like I accidentally stumbled into Ashley. Like we met each other for glances for like 2 seconds. I don't remember anything other than she was wearing glasses and had a yellow hoodie. I don't know. I don't know if she saw me or not, honestly. I feel my face just flushing mentioning this. Sorry about that, guys. On July 8th, oh yeah, I decided to come clean to my parents and then show them my test. Okay, I didn't come clean. They found out that I didn't do so well on my test for computer science. But I told them about the comments situation about how my teacher was nitpicky, and then they accepted it. They saw the rest of my grades that semester and they were pleased with it, and then they moved on. Because I showed visible improvement. On July 9th, I was craving white spot. And I was at home. My parents were off for work that day. It was a sunny day on July 9th. What happened? Oh yeah, I called the white spot to do takeout, and like I think I heard Bethany's voice, but I wasn't very sure if I did. And then it sounded like she knew me. She was like, Brent? And then I said I wanted some calamari. And then I said, do you have any pies? I was hoping to get the blueberry pie, but then the whoever who was calling me, she was like, oh, we have apple pie right now. And I said, okay, I'll do this for takeout. I'll tell you though, the white spot takeout was nowhere near as good as dining in. The ice cream was melted, the pie was dry, and the calamari was a little soggy. Yeah. On July 10th, after taking both my classes, that was the first day I really started getting into BGA. That yeah, basically. Sorry, I'll be right back. I will that was the first time I really started getting into BGA. And I played with a few people. I don't remember their names anymore. I'm not allowed to disclose that anyways. And then one of them were like, Paul Lane, est-ce que vous parlez français? They wanted me to speak French, but like my French wasn't very fluent. Um, so then, yeah. And the reason why I started on July 10th was because my friend Ryan from church showed me a game of Love Letter, and I really clearly enjoyed it. And then I was like, okay, I really want to play this game online. I didn't know BGA existed at the time, so I was like, oh, BGA. So that's basically how I knew BGA. It was because of me wanting to play Love Letter, so then I found the website. Yeah. So I don't remember anything else that happened on July 10th. On July the 11th, I wanted to try something new, so I played a card game. It was called Hearts. And like I had this really bad habit of not reading the instructions before starting to play a game. So I just went in there blind as a bat and then making some of the crappiest moves. I remember my very first game of Hearts went terribly. I typed in, so are we always supposed to play the highest card? And then this guy was like, no, like capital N-O. And then I remember like I was playing, and then I said, do we always have to play the lowest hearts? And then he was like, no, not always. And I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. So then I just started clicking the cards and such. And then the person was like, okay, the game is over and you lost, Paul. You got last place, but this was your first game. And I was like, I guess I'll live and learn from this game. Now I'm pretty good at hearts. But you know what's really funny? I don't play Love Letter anymore in the present day. On the night of Thursday, July 11th, I remember talking to a few people. I just wanted to make a bit of small talk. You see me do small talk when I play an hour on like BGA and such. And then I remember I was saying, how is everyone's summer break so far? And then one of them wrote, it's winter here, LOL. And then I said, oh, are you from Australia? And then he said, close, New Zealand. I also remember talking to the one of those people who liked to play Love Letter and Coup as well as Hearts. So yeah. Um, on on Friday, July 12th. Let's see, how far have I made it? Okay, I'm gonna go a few more days before I cut it short. I don't wanna, I'm starting to get a little dizzy and tired. On Friday, July 12th, I remember in the morning, it was a sunny day. It was a sunny day the whole day, sorry. And then what happened? Yeah, my church told me that basically that they wanted to they were hosting a barbecue party that evening. Yeah, and after taking my course classes, I remember went on BG again and I played Love Letter. I met two people. I remember one of them was called Luby 2000 and another one was called Francis Killer. I forget who the third person was called. Um, Francis Killer, this guy was from Australia. Yeah. And then we played, I made some more small talk. And then I said, Luby. Every time I see your username, I think of Luigi. And then he was like, from Mario? Lol. And then Francis Killer was like saying, oh, and I think of the bedroom for whatever reason. And then I was talking with Luby. I lied saying, oh, I do surfing, swimming, skating. It's been a pretty fun summer. And then he wrote, lol, that's a lot more interesting than what my summer is going like so far. And then I remember a while later I said, Francis Killer, how's your summer break so far? And then he typed the words, Paul, I know you're Canadian, so I'll forgive you, but the entire world isn't on summer or a break right now. um, yeah. And then what ended up happening was, yeah, I eventually did make it to the party. I met up with Mark, Henry, some of these old people. It was nice to reunite with people. And I saw my friend Brandon, and it was really nice seeing him because I had not spoken to him in like the longest time ever. I had not spoken to him in the longest time ever. And then he's like, oh, I've just been MIA. I've just been so busy and caught up with stuff. I remember he tried calling me once on June 30th. I tried calling him back, but he never responded. So yeah, it was a good day seeing him and all those people. Yeah, the barbecue went successfully. We socialized. I got at home around almost midnight. Yeah. Okay, guys, I'm so sorry, but I am gonna have to cut it short. My mind is exhausted. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know in the comment section if you want me to do more of these. I'll see what else I can recall. I've been known to recall entire episodes word by word. So yeah, I love to stay, but for now, I gotta jump. I'll see you guys on the other side of the bridge. Catch you next time.